Hello, folks. Happy New Year. I'm starting this early because my uncle's bringing over some breakfast at 12:30, which is when I'm usually halfway through this writing session. Also, I overslept this morning, not because I was at some New Year's festivity, but it's because I had some weird dream. I was being chased around by a mansion by a Frankenstein's monster with a chainsaw, like in Castlevania 64. Weird thing is, I didn't even make it to that part of the game. I got defeated way early. But that's all in the past now. Let's go into the future. Wanda soon ran into one of her boys, who was a tall, dark-haired jade male with handsome features, golden eyes, dark gray suit. It was clearly bespoken. He was also welding a pressed Darelli, which he had used to take out a few guards already. Here, young. His demeanor was of experienced killer. Was of an experienced killer. Just like Wanda. It was just like Wanda. He smiled brightly, like a film actor, when he saw Wanda. Wanda had no doubt that he spotted a bit of blood on her clothes, particularly her sleeves, coat sleeves, and her dress. There might have been spots elsewhere where that Wanda missed. Maybe on her heels. But she was looking forward to kicking off, placing with more practical boots when the fighting started. I have to note her attire. Wanda's the pretty bad guy. You, miss, you had looked like you just killed someone. The young man smiled, cheered. I have, Wanda replied. And you? Then asked. And you? I probably don't need that then asked, but, well, why not? Why not make things a little more clearer for the right readers to be, fair to them? I mean, I've been watching a lot of movies lately where I can't tell what's going on. And if they put more establishing shots and other things like that in, then it would be clear. It's the same with writing, pretty much. I try to repeat things 2 or 3 times, so if there are important details, It doesn't actually take up that much room on the page, really. But, indeed, I've collected a few scalps. The young man replied. The young man's name was Bat Z. That's not Bot the 8th, or whatever that would be in Roman numerals, I don't know. Let's see. Former theater actor turned terrorist of the Jade Underground. Apparently some girl, a friend of his, was accosted by Zetan GI, or maybe a chrome. Wanda didn't know the full details. Who slashed up her face? Her beautiful face. With a razor. The girl was terribly survived, but was terribly scarred, and her acting career was over. She committed suicide. I wanted to suppose there was a better motive to become there was a decent motive for Bot to become a terrorist. She had heard of men enduring a lot less and swearing allegiance to the underground. For example, I knew one guy who joined the underground but because some drunk Zedin accidentally rear-ended his new car. I'd like to think that terrorists you'd have a better motive than that to become a terrorist, really. There's a lot of terrorists in the Middle East become terrorists these days because of all the drone strikes and whatnot, and their family members getting killed. That's a good motive to become a terrorist, in my view. Not that I'm justifying them, but from their point of view, of course, they view their actions as justified completely. And, let's see, what else was I thinking about that subject? Of course, there's also indoctrination and all that. It's a complicated thing. I'm pretty sure each person becomes a terrorist for different reasons. Let's see. In the present, 3 years after the death of that girl, that actress, after that actress threw herself in front of a train, Bot Z was one of the best infiltrators of the Jade Underground and one of the most ruthless. He showed off his handiwork to Wanda. Did he kill more than 2? I better check. Earlier, implied that he killed more than 2. He somehow got the drop on 2 guards in a little side room. Made them both get on their knees, then shot them execution style. There were a lot of terrorists in the underground who would have refused to do that to fellow Jade. But Bot Z had no regrets. They were Jade, but they were the enemy. Bot noted calmly. I kill anyone I'm ordered to. Right. Wanda agreed. Revolutions can't be bloodless. Wanda supposed she could have argued that nobody told Bot to kill those 2 men. He just did it on his own. Let's find some more men to kill, Wanda suggested. Wanda stuck with Bot, and they Bot, and they soon found security car, home to only two guards, both of whom were sitting at consoles, checking in with patrolling guards. Guards still alive and patrolling through the train. Story segments like this, it almost feels like you're writing a slasher movie. Killer creeping around, killing people one by one. I think it would be pretty boring to write a slasher movie. Just nothing but people getting killed. But it might be interesting as a challenge to myself. You know, I think I'd like to write every type of story ever made. Except maybe haiku. I'm not good at poetry. And I don't like to write poetry. I think it's a little pretentious. It's kind of like modern art. You know, modern art. To me, the modern art is just, ugh. And classic art is, ugh, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's like the difference between poetry and novels to me. Novels have a lot more effort in them. Of course, you know, poets would argue otherwise, and I have been moved by poetry. I think a lot of it is just soulless junk, though. It's actually the same with novels, I guess, if I have to be honest. It's soulless junk that has a lot more effort put into it, usually. Of course, some would argue soulless junk is soulless junk, no matter if it's short or long. Let's see, former theater actors, one of the best infiltrators. Wanda and Bot pick their targets after they're coming in on the car, and from its southern entrance, and they opened up from the shadows. 2 bullets going into each head. Bodies dropped without a sound. Their chairs made their wheel swivel? Chairs made more noise in them as they spun around after the bodies fell out of them. Wanda considered picking up a corpse and putting it back in the chair, but she decided against it. The guy looked heavy. Wanda didn't want to give herself a hurt spine just before this operation really got going. Leave them where they fall. Fell. Wanda said to Bot. Like an old battlefield. Bot smiled. As he reloaded his pistol. The two got to the other side of the car, just as the doors opened, and then a new guard came in. He was caught by surprise and barely yelped when Bot put the suppressed barrel of his pistol against the man's gut and pulled the trigger 3 times. He was nearly dead at the time. He slumped to the floor in the little hallway between that car. Between that car, security car, and the little outside doors gap between that led to the next car. Bridge. I'm not sure what the outdoor bridge is called. I'll have to look it up. And if I can't look it up, fuck it. Another down. Wagner muttered. It looked heavy. Next I had first body. First guy. She hid, at least. Bob took point. Found the coast was clear. He took the dead man and tossed him off into the fast-moving countryside on the flanks of the train. The body vanished off to some piece of lovely summer-like scenery. Right. For a moment, Bot looked a little unhappy about that. Perhaps a hint of guilt? Wanda didn't ask. Bot was a well-trained actor, though he was. But since becoming a terrorist, he had, when he was on the job, he looked more like some machine, some artificial construction that looked like a man, but lacked the feelings of one. A Terminator robot kind of thing, if you will. Let's see. Probably dump all the bodies. The train eventually. Wanda muttered. Really? I asked. Didn't think we were gonna be on board long enough for them to start rotting. We're not, Wanda replied. But they're dead weight. And I was taught to clean up my messes when I was a little girl. That was a bit of a lie, Wanda supposed. Though she was a well-behaved child. Though she was a well-behaved child, she was also pretty messy and lazy. He could have been. Wanda had no regrets about her betraying Republic and so on. Though kind of wished she could go back and tell her little self to be a lot nicer to her adopted parents and to occasionally clean something without being yelled at to do so. Without having to be yelled at first. Yeah, folks, it's better to clean before anyone tells you to clean when you live in a house. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like you're supposed to be psychic and know where every dirty thing in the house is without anyone telling you. Let's see, okay, side. The next few cars were empty. For a moment, Wanda thought they might have gotten all the guards. But she found one last one taking a little nap in some metal chair by the entrance that led to the engine and the engineer. I used to think the conductor was the same as the engineer, but nope. I mean, the conductor... What kind of name is conductor, anyway? You'd think when the name conductor, that means they're the ones conducting everything. They're in charge of the train. But, and I assume that meant steering a train, not handling administrative stuff. Someday I'd like to take the train to New York. Are trains still not as safe as planes? I don't know. It seems like I hear a lot more about plane crashes lately than... train crashes lately than plane crashes. Have planes suddenly become super resilient? I don't know. Wanda managed to put the barrel of her pistol right against the man's forehead. Without stirring him. And she removed the pistol. Removed the pistol and looked to Bot with a light smile. This one's yours, Wanda said. Maybe I could just throw him off the train. Bot replied. Nah, can't risk him surviving the fall. Wanda said. Put a round in him. His brain first. That was what Bot did. But first he checked the next area between the cars. It wouldn't do for him to get spotted by some random guard with a body over his shoulders. The dead guard was dropped off the train, like the earlier fella, and he was never. And that was the last guard between Wanda, Bot, and the engineer. What will become of the engineer? Maybe he has a sentry gun waiting for him, like in Team Fortress 2. You wouldn't walk across that engineer. He's dangerous. He's a Texan mad scientist. You don't get any crazier than that, you know? Alright, folks, that's 23 minutes in. See you later. Hope you had a nice, New Year's Eve. Just realized I forgot to make a resolution. Well. I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. See ya.